Hello, everybody. I'm Professor Rupal Dalal. I've been working in Satara since 2019. I'm a pediatrician by profession. I have been working in this field of malnutrition since 2007. My training has been in the US. When I moved back, I joined one hospital and I saw kind of poor infrastructure and a lot of these babies who are very malnourished. And that's when I decided to get into NGO and then help these children kind of become healthy, and so they don't get diagnosed with diarrhea, pneumonia, or they don't end up in the hospital. And that's where my journey began. Initially, when I was working in this field, Dr. Shah, Narendra Shah, who was the professor at Zatara, he sent few of his students to my place to kind of study on, what is malnutrition, what can be done. Those are, so that's how they came to my house, and for almost a few months or so, I would train them. But eventually, with Professor Agnihotri, he saw my work on undernourished children. Also, he saw my data on breastfeeding and complementary feeding, and how the children were coming out of malnutrition and undernutrition just by using proper technical skills, and also just by counseling. And that's when I joined Satara in 2019. What we do at Satara, basically, I work with a lot of departments. I work with one project called Spoken Tutorial Project. They have come up with tutorials for software languages. But me being part of Health Spoken Tutorial, now we are making tutorials on maternal and infant young child nutrition. These are skill-based tutorials that we are preparing. They're getting translated into 15 different languages, including 6 tribal languages as well. How we use these tutorials? Basically, when we do training of healthcare workers with government, we use this tutorial as part of a training, and then we also create a protocol when to teach mother what tutorials to show, how to help mothers. Basically, it is called learning action protocol. This tutorials guide them on when to do visits, home visits, and in those home visits, what tutorials to show, and if there are any gap in, say, weight gain, then what action to take. So that's what I'm working with Spoken Tutorial Project. Here at Sitara, of course, my course is on maternal and from young child nutrition, because a lot of our students, they do data evaluation, data analysis of HMIS, also for WCD, women and child development. So they have to understand what are the indicators, what does it mean, what is IYCF indicator, what is nutrition indicators, what are the problems, what are the solutions. I also work with other departments. Many students, they want to create app, they want to create some software. So basically, I kind of guide them on what kind of app that they can make. So it's I would say like I'm a bridge between medical world, Anganwadi Asha, and AAAs and engineers. Goal is to really kind of make India malnutrition free. Engineering students are just doing amazing work. What we need is to kind of take this technology to the last mile, and definitely we are seeing results in Nandre, where we have kind of our project going on for past 6 months or so. We are also in process of publication. We did conduct a study in Banaskantha, which was an experimental study, and it's in the process of hopefully publication will go through. There are other research that we also do. For example, there are other professors who are working on products. So obviously I come in as the technical guide to kind of let them know what is healthy, what is not healthy. Of course, a lot of state government also ask us to kind of recommend some product for malnourished children, or even as part of THR. So that's where I come in as well. And presently, what we're doing is to kind of conduct a lot of trainings for AAAs and medical officers, CHOs, working with different states presently, and district level administration also. We also work with a lot of NGOs. So there are a lot of non-government organizations, even other big organizations. So we are involved in training their teams and also helping them to understand different protocols. And mission is, of course, not just India, but a lot of developing countries, because as part of Sitara, we do kind of train many representatives from different developing countries like ARDO countries. So they are also, we are making them familiar with our MIYCF skills, specifically cross-cultural world that I recommend. Also on complementary feeding, what are those protein-rich foods? So through tutorials, I think we will be able to reach not just India and not just developing world, also developed world. Thank you.
In the year 2009, we started this spoken tutorial project. I want to give a brief background of spoken tutorial, because otherwise you might wonder, how come IIT is doing health spoken tutorial? How come IIT is getting into breastfeeding? What is the connection? So I have to give the background. Spoken tutorial was started to provide IT training to students across the country, students of colleges, engineering, arts, science, commerce colleges, for example, so as to improve their employment potential. And we had to do this in a massive way. The project was funded by the National Mission on Education through ICT, NME ICT. At the time, it was called MHRD, Ministry of Human Resource Development. Now it is Ministry of Education, Government of India. And this mission is an amazing one, because the officials there firmly believe that it is only through technology we can become a developed country. I'm talking about the proposal made in mid 2000, early 2000, say 2004, 2005, 2006 time frame. Finally, this mission got sanctioned in 2009, and we are really happy that we could get this funding for this important activity to provide IT training so as to improve the employment potential. And it should be for lots of people, not for just IIT students, not for just, let's say, NIT students. It should go to everybody. Unfortunately, because of our shortage that we have in educational institutions, most of our students, I would say maybe even 80 to 90% of them, don't end up in good colleges, good schools. They may not even have good teachers there. How do we impart IT training to them? That was the question we tried to address. So I said, given that they may not go to good schools, good colleges, they may not have good teachers, can we make our content suitable for self-learning? Now, so that at least those who are motivated in that population can learn by themselves. Can we guarantee that something is suitable for self-learning? So we got this idea from the movie industry. Every movie has a script. So I said that let our tutorials also have a script. So we wrote the script. In other words, it is not extempore. It has to be read out from a script. And then we added a small twist. We said that a beginner should be able to read that script and understand it. And it's not an easy thing, because the script is written by an expert. And by the time they become experts, they forget how they were at the time of beginning. So it was sometimes a difficult process. Sometimes it took even 30 iterations, because we would send the script back and say, please improve it. Okay? We never rejected any script. There is no word called rejection in our vocabulary. So we would send it back, they would improve it, it will come back. And of course, subsequently we improved our methodology quite a bit, so that nowadays it doesn't take more than maybe 2-3 iterations. But at that time, I'm talking about the beginning stages because we are talking about the motivation. So we made it suitable for self-learning. We also had to change the pedagogy. Pedagogy is because it is for self-learning. If I am in the class in person teaching my students, I can afford to teach a lot of theory, and at the end of the portion of theory, I can say, here is the example. But here is somebody who has to learn by themselves, and you teach a lot of theory, then they have a question and they don't know who to ask. So I said that in our methodology, we will always have examples first. We will have things that they will practice, see and practice. Listen to my video, practice it. Listen to a command, pause the video, try it out. If it works, go to the next command. If not, rewind it, listen to it again, and so on. And it will always work because it is created for self-learning. And learning through examples, very little theory. Active learning because they have to reproduce everything. By doing all this, we made this content suitable for self-learning. And we made our tutorials 10-minute long. I believe that if you create an ordinary tutorial, 10 people will watch it. If you make it 10 times better, 10,000 people will watch it. Why is it 10 times better? Because this script that you have to validate, that has to be understood by a beginner. It is 10 times better. You ask some of my team members, they say, oh, it's not just 10 times better. 10 times difficult, it is maybe 20 times difficult, 50 times difficult. So, recording me like this, for example, extempore is very easy. Ask the person to speak and record. Very easy. But here is something a beginner has to understand. So, that is 10 times more difficult, but the idea is to make it 10 times better so that many people understand. We made our tutorials of 10-minute duration because I believe that if you give small steps, enough number of small steps, anybody can climb Himalayas. Okay? So whatever the topic is, of course I'm talking about skills topic. I'm not talking about highly theoretical topics like relativity and things like that. We are talking about, let's say, C programming or Java programming. So I would say this is the most important thing about spoken tutorial. It is the content is created for self-learning and the pedagogy is suitably designed. And this pedagogy is useful also for the next important requirement of spoken tutorial. We made the content suitable for people who are not necessarily fluent in English. Okay. In fact, I myself studied in a Tamil medium school all my life, and when I went to IIT Madras for my BTech, I had a really tough time in constructing sentences. Okay, it was a struggle, but I was fortunate to be in an environment where I could pick up English. But I know many people who were as good as me, but who didn't get this opportunity, and they also would have done very well if only they had the opportunity. So I could visualize a lot of people in the country who would benefit by this. So it is almost like here is somebody who is from a neighborhood, poor family, lives in a poor neighborhood, doesn't have relatives who are fluent in English. Imagine their friends, relatives, neighbors, parents, they are not fluent in English, and if only they have an elder brother who would catch hold of their hand, grab their hand, and guide them gently through various, the maze, for example, right? It will be fantastic. So that's how we decided. And then this dubbing is actually not straightforward because we said that video will be in English. Because although I call it spoken tutorial, there is a video part. Video part because you have to capture the screen. For example, C programming, right? They have to see the file that they are writing, that C program that they are writing. So there is a video component. So why did I call it a spoken tutorial? Because you don't see the face of the person who is talking. You only hear the person speaking, right? Of course, the second reason is that when we created this video in 2007-2008 timeframe, there were many silent videos on YouTube. So to distinguish our videos from their videos, I said ours is will be called spoken tutorial. And then the third reason is dubbing. The spoken word is very important in my method. So we said that we will dub only the audio, video will remain in English. So that even the children who are not fluent in English, who want to learn IT, they will have aspirations. They will want to join TCS, they will want to join Infosys, they will want to work in UK, they will want to work in in the US and so on. So if they are capable of writing the computer code, why not let them go? So why should we say that they should learn through Devanagari keyboard or Tamil keyboard? They will never get very far. So the motive here is to improve the employment potential for people who are not necessarily fluent in English, but not necessarily, but to make them uh, good in their mother tongue is not the motive. The idea is even the linguistic minorities should be able to get access to high quality IT material. So that is the dubbing aspect. So we said that only the dubbing and the Indian languages are a lot more verbose. So how do you dub the audio part only without touching the video? In other words, if you have a sentence in English, the Hindi translated sentence or Tamil translated sentence or in any of our 22 languages should fit into that available time. I call it available time. It should not take more time because if it takes more time, then the sync will be gone. Then I have to edit the video. Then if I edit the video, then what will happen to my novice check and a beginner check and so on? Whole thing will go for a toss. So it is not at all obvious how do we contain our verbose languages within the available time. So that is why it became part of the pedagogy. So in other words, when we created this, we made sure that it is suitable for dubbing as well. So for that, one simple rule we follow is don't use difficult sentences, don't use difficult words, and keep the sentences 80 characters or less. Okay, in fact, I say that recommend 60 characters or less for every sentence, but it should not exceed 80 characters. If the sentence exceeds 80 characters, we reject that sentence. It goes back to the script writer, for example, right? So now we dub it into all languages, only the audio. It's extremely easy to do the dubbing, but a lot of work goes into the creation part. We have 300 tutorials dubbed into Sanskrit, for example. Now, why did I dub it into Sanskrit? How many people speak Sanskrit? Well, not too many, but then there are about 2 lakh people in India who claim that Sanskrit is their mother tongue. And it's the second official language of Uttarakhand, for example. And more importantly, I wanted to send a message. If I can dub it into Sanskrit, I can dub it into any language. Okay, so we dub it into 22 languages of our country. And another reason for dubbing it into Sanskrit is that we are a national project. Okay, we cannot take a decision based on this language is spoken by most people, and or this language is the oldest in India. We cannot go by that. We have to give equal opportunities for everybody who speaks, who speaks one of our 22 languages, and they may belong to a linguistic minority. Doesn't matter. They should get the same opportunity. So as a result of this approach, we are able to provide the same high quality video. Why spoken tutorial? Why high quality? Because it is 10 times more difficult to create. That the same thing can be enjoyed by anybody in our country. Of course, all our neighboring countries can use it because we share common languages, and we have also samples in other languages. For example, we have some dubbing in Spanish, and then American English. American English means American accent, for example. Then we have it for some Southeast countries. For example, we have a dubbing in Thai language, Vietnamese, and so on. So we have quite a few. So we have Spanish, Portuguese, for example. So we have quite a few samples available. The third thing was to make this available for offline use. And we thought about it in the year 2010, and the implication of it became acutely known during the pandemic time. When people, in fact, I know some people who called me, I was interacting with them, they called from Jammu, and they said that they had access to only 2G, and how do they listen to all this, Zoom call and so on? I said, no problem, you can use spoken tutorial, because low quality internet is good enough to download an entire thing as a zip file. So we created a facility to download, and they could use it offline. And the zip file can be unzipped, copied into all the machines, and they could use it. In fact, it became faster than the fastest internet, because however fast your internet may be, if you are watching a video, you want to rewind it, it'll buffer. Okay. Whereas in our case, because the access is from hard disk, it is instantaneous. So it is a fantastic thing. I could conduct a workshop in Myanmar, for example. Myanmar is in use for wrong reasons, but we could conduct a workshop. They had forget about internet. They didn't even have reliable electricity. They don't use desktop computers. They only use laptops. So the laptops were charged, and our spoken tutorials were copied. The usable software was copied. I forgot to tell that we work only with open source software, because we want to be responsible to the society. That's the only thing suitable for a countrywide training. How can I hope to train, let's say, 70 lakh students? That's the number we train, by the way. How do we train 70 lakh students using commercial software? Who will pay for the license? Can I ask them to use pirated license? Can I ask them to use the pirated copy? Okay, it's a government project. So it has to be something accessible to everybody. It made everybody to be able to use it. It brought this training within the reach of everybody. If I use commercial software, then I'll be indirectly forcing them to buy it in order to learn, which is not correct, right? So coming back to Myanmar, the software was copied, open source software copied onto the machine, and our tutorials are copied. And in fact, most of the workshop happened in darkness, because there was no light, no electricity, right? And so these are the three things: created for self-learning, dubbed into all 22 languages, and usable offline. In fact, Google gave me an award, MOOCs award, for the offline version. The online company Google gave me an award because they would insist that you come and use it. Nobody allows people to download. So we did that. So it was very popular. It was used in 5,000 colleges, and we have a large number of people who are using it. It's used in the curriculum and so on and so forth. 70 lakh students have benefited by that. We have written many research papers. I had one PhD student in education technology who did incredible work, who basically said that based on the research work done in Hyderabad to first year engineering college students, he found, it's a journal article by the way, he found that the spoken tutorial methodology by which people self-learn get confidence that they can do, that they are capable of learning by themselves. Once they learn that, then sky is the limit. They have the confidence. They can go and learn anything. They can go and conquer the world, right? So, in fact, the other day we had a computer teacher from Navodaya school system. He came and talked to us. Amit Kumar is his name, and he said that he used IT spoken tutorials extensively, and then that helped many students, both the brightest students and also the students who need help. So the bright students because it is self-learning, they can learn fast and they can learn more. But the students who need help, they could also come into the mainstream. In fact, he said that after he introduced the system, the pass rate in board exam in his school has been 100%, with all the students getting 85% and above. And so I asked him, why did this happen? What is the connection? I'm not teaching maths, physics, chemistry. I'm only teaching, IT. He said that they felt better, they felt good, that they could learn, and that it had an impact on this as well. So this is an unexpected benefit that of the spoken tutorial approach. We started it for IT training so that they will get jobs, but self-confidence going up, and it has many nice things is something we didn't anticipate, but that is an unexpected bonus, I would say. After this, then I always said that IT training is the tip of the iceberg. There are many skills that we can impart through this. In 2015-16 timeframe, I met Dr. Rupal Dalal. I could see that she was very passionate about exclusive breastfeeding, the nutrition state of the newborns, and of course their mothers. Can we do something about it? She used to go to about let's say 10-15 places in a year and repeat the same workshop again and again and again. So I told her, let's join hands. She used to, my estimate was she was probably training about maybe 1,000 workers in a good way every year. I said, using our methodology, we will roll it out to 100,000 people. Okay, because we know how to scale it. And that's how the journey started. And it's an incredible journey. And so I had a team led by Dr. Bella Tony. She was part of our open source software movement, and she was going to resign because she had some eye problem. And I said, here is an exciting. She has a PhD in microbiology, and I said, maybe you will like this better. Don't resign. Take a month off and then come back. And I want you to lead the team. And she has not complained even once after that her eyes had any problem. Okay, she is leading this team admirably. We have Sakina, who is leading the dubbing effort. She's the dubbing in charge, because that's a huge task in itself. She's doing it. They are the two people who are leading it, and we have had 10 people, 15 people, and during difficult times, we have had difficulty in getting funds for our project. From 2020, this funding stopped thanks to some CSR and the funds we raised through IT training. We have a small chargeable model. We raised some funds, and alumni and so on. We have Wheels Global that supports it. We have Wheel Foundation that supports it. In fact, I'm holding a chair, Eric and Mehru Mehta Advanced Education Technology chair, and that was established by an alum, Ruitan Mehta, who is also big believer in this health spoken tutorial, and he has generously funded this, and that's how we have survived the health spoken tutorial project, because we have spent substantial money in time when MHRD was funding it. It was very generous. We have received lots of money from them, and we could pay the salaries of these people, and that's how we have these 91 amazing tutorials now at this point, and we have it in many languages, 15+ languages, and many district collectors have taken the initiative to dub them into tribal languages. That's also fantastic. Hopefully, we will have them done in all tribal languages if the Ministry of Tribal Affairs accepts the project proposal that I have made, at least in a few languages to start with, but later on to all tribal languages. Breastfeeding skills is aptly demonstrated, and if you see the testimonials of other people, you will see that how effective it is. So I always say that the usage of spoken tutorials, health spoken tutorials for newborns and their mothers is a question of when for the whole country, not if. Time has come, and it has been validated in Nandurbar, it has been validated in many other places, and I'm pretty sure that the whole country is going to adopt it. Now, is it applicable to other fields? I mean, breastfeeding is one of the skills. What about other skills? In fact, the country believes that there are about 500 million people who have to be skilled. Okay, are we capable of doing it? I have a gut feeling, yes, we are capable of doing it. In fact, we created one tutorial for Market Mirchi, and the team that is behind Market Mirchi came and said that, oh, it works beautiful. Okay, that is an example. But we have now tutorials to teach mobile phones to slum dwellers, for example, right? Can we teach them in a way they can understand? We have a set of tutorials for how to construct houses, for example, in a rural neighborhood. For example, if you do it in a city, these are massive, big corporations like Hiranandani, Godrej, and so on and so forth. They have access to all the things, for CPM, all kinds of things. But what about a contractor who is constructing a two-story house? They also have to know when to call the electrician. So the electrician comes, every day he'll come and check, do you have work? Now why should he waste his time? Supposing this person says, come on 15th of October. So this fellow says, okay, I'll go and find some other job, and 15th he shows up. And IIT professors in civil engineering said that it is possible to do this in Excel spreadsheet. We can actually teach them. So Calc is the Open Office, LibreOffice equivalent. So we can do it in Calc, for example, right? And also to how to construct, house. What do you do for the, brick wall, for example? In India, for example, most construction is bad. Okay, and I would say about half of them, you can say that somebody is, wanted to cut corners, make some money. I would say at least half the people, they invested good quality material, but still got poor quality construction. That is because they didn't know that information. Can we help at least this half? So we created some tutorials. And then, so Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana, we can actually contribute substantially. Kitchen garden, and so on and so forth. In fact, the number of topics we can cover is endless. And I believe that spoken tutorial has a methodology and a philosophy that is applicable to a lot of areas. And thanks to health spoken tutorials, thanks to Dr. Rupal Dalal, thanks to Manish ji, thanks to Minal, Nandurbar, and all the other well-wishers, donors, my staff members. So I want to thank everybody for making this project possible and conveying the idea that spoken tutorial is applicable to lots of people, lots of skill sectors. Thank you for listening.
Hello everyone. I'm Minal Karanwal and I'm currently posted as the Project Officer, Integrated Tribal Development Program in Nandurbar district of Maharashtra. My encounter with the health spoken tutorials came via a senior, Dr. Mitali Sethi. She was working in Nilghat and she had translated these tutorials into the local tribal language of Korku. Through her, I got to meet Dr. Rupal Dalal and the entire team of health spoken tutorials at IIT Bombay. and we decided to scale it up in its implementation framework in Nandurbar district. So within that, we trained around 1,000 healthcare workers in 2 batches in Nandurbar, including medical officers, community health officers, ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers, ICDS supervisors, and also nurses of hospitals. So the interaction I've had with health spoken tutorials is that it covers 3 pillars, in my opinion. One is of effective breastfeeding, because it teaches the skills of effective breastfeeding, which is also called 45 points by Dr. Rupal Dalal. On adult nutrition, because it discusses a lot about importance of protein, folate, calcium, amino acids, and also the importance of complementary feeding and how it should be carried out. So like there are tutorials on the harmfulness of junk food also, and these tutorials, when I first encountered them, existed in very simple language, even in English or Hindi, and our attempt has been to convert them into 6 languages, tribal languages of Nandurbar, so that they can have a better reach to people. So Nandurbar is a district which is known for malnutrition. Like even amongst aspirational districts, it comes the lowest. Stunting rates of around 45%, wasting around 54%. So speaking in a layman language terms, 5 to 6 children out of 10 are stunted, wasted, underweight, low birth weight. It's massively spread in the district. So when we worked with health spoken tutorials, we realized that they have objective scientific skills to deal with the issues of malnutrition. So for an administrator, we got hold of simple science so that we can really connect this simple science to our healthcare workers. And since then, we've been seeing amazing outcomes on the field in the sense of daily weight gain in grams that we are seeing in babies. We concluded a World Breastfeeding Week where we had weight gains of 500 to 700 grams in a week, which was something that used to happen in Nandurbar for over a period of 2 months, 1.5 months. So all in all, the indebtedness of the district for health spoken tutorials is very high. Plus, we also aim to build upon it through our community health network, so that even the issues of adult nutrition and child nutrition after breastfeeding phase can also seep well into the community. The project is currently undergoing in the district in terms of effective breastfeeding and in terms of complementary feeding. We had nutritional charts, extensive nutritional charts being printed and distributed on the field, which actually not just talk about theoretical 7 food groups, but shows what a food group contains and looks like and what a mother is supposed to eat. We also introducing an app on the field in lieu of health spoken tutorials, which helps us track the weight gain happening through breastfeeding. And last but not the least, Dr. Rupal and the entire HST team has also helped us introduce breastfeeding assessment forms. So earlier, counseling about breastfeeding used to happen in a very subjective manner, that you need to talk to the mother, counsel the mother, make her comfortable. Now we are having objective points, where the fingers of the mother should be, where the head of the baby should be. So in all, our project is currently undergoing, and hopefully it will culminate and crystallize into what we envision it to be, which is again objective scientific administration. So what we've learned from health spoken tutorial specifically is the importance of protein. The first day of training, Dr. Rupal Dalal dedicates to us calculating our own protein content in the food. So I think if one liner for a Poshan Maah or for anybody's health is to be given, it is to increase one's protein content in the food consciously. So I think it goes for babies, for mothers, for me, for you, and for everybody listening to this, that a conscious increase in the protein content of food is what health spoken tutorials advocates, and what we all also need to do for good health.
Myself, Dr. Manish Nandre, Community Health Officer, Government in Maharashtra from Nandurbar. I am working here from 3 years. I am working as a Community Health Officer in Lahan Shada PSC, Nandurbar Tehsil, District Nandurbar. The 75 years of independence of our country, still we are facing many issues, and malnourishment is one of them. If we calculate about India, there is 33 lakh SAM or MAM children in overall India. Out of this, Maharashtra 4 to 5 lakhs, Bihar 4 to 5 lakhs, Gujarat 3 to 4 lakhs, Andhra 2 to 3 lakhs, Uttar Pradesh 1 to 2 lakhs. Really don't gather how much such in long proportion malnourishment is happening in India. So in this case, and in from lockdown to October 2021, there is growth in 91% in overall malnourishment in India due to ICDS and midday meal is closed. So Dr. Rupal madam and Dr. Minal madam are being a ray of hope to those malnourished children in our district, because Nandre is a malnourished district in past, tribal district in today, but aspirational district in future. Because with the help of Dr. Rupal madam and Dr. Minal madam, we are starting the breastfeeding techniques to all the mother, ANC mother, PNC mother. With the help of these techniques, every mother are skillful to feeding for her baby, and due to this feeding, the average rate of weight gain is near around 10 to 15 grams per day before this. But after that skill we giving to all the mothers, it's near around 50 to 55 gram weight gain per day. So there is a great increase in the weight gain per day due to the cross-cradle technique, breastfeeding techniques, and all the techniques teaches by our ANM and ASHA to the tribal people. So the health spoken tutorial are being really helpful to all those people who are living in the remote places.
नमस्कार, मी डॉक्टर जितेंद्र नानाभाई बिरारे. मी CHO आहे, कम्युनिटी हेल्थ ऑफिसर, नंदुरबार डिस्ट्रिक्टमध्ये, तळोजा तालुका, वाल्हेरी PSC, रोजवा पुनर्वसन सब सेंटर येथे. माझा जो जिल्हा आहे तो मुख्यतः हा कुपोषितग्रस्त बालकांचा जिल्हा म्हटलं जातो. त्यामध्ये बऱ्याच कुपोषित बालकांचं संख्या म्हणजे लक्षणीय आहे आणि त्यामुळेही बालमृत्यू आणि माता मृत्यू होत असतात. बऱ्याच वेळेला म्हणजे बरेच बालकं जे आहेत ते अंडरवेट जन्माला येतात, IUGR म्हणतात. त्यामध्ये इंट्रायुटेरिन ग्रोथ ऑफ रिटार्डेशन होतं आणि त्यामुळे बरेच बालकं हे जन्मतः त्यांचं वजन कमी असतं, जे लो बर्थ वेट असतात. आणि बऱ्याच वेळेला तर ते बालकांचं वजन हे 1000 ग्रॅम म्हणजे 1 किलो 1.5 किलो आणि साधारणतः 2 किलो असं असतं. मग त्यामुळे मग बालकांचं जे वाढ असते आणि त्यांचं जे वाढीमध्ये निर्माण होणारे ज्या समस्या असतात त्यामध्ये मुख्यतः शरीर म्हणजे हेल्थ विशेष म्हणून जास्त असतं. त्यामध्ये बरेच आजार असतात आणि त्या आजारामध्ये रेस्पिरेटरी जे डिस्ट्रेस किंवा रेस्पिरेटरी संबंधीचे आजार असतात आणि मुळात छोटे मोठे जे डिसेंट्री आहे, गॅस्ट्रो म्हणतो आपण, तर गॅस्ट्रायटिस वगैरे अशा काही गोष्टी घडल्या, त्यामुळे सुद्धा बालकांचा मृत्यू. नंदुरबारला जेव्हा मी पोहोचलो तर त्यावेळेला जी स्थिती होती तीही आताही तीच आहे, पण त्यामध्ये बऱ्यापैकी म्हणजे लक्षणीय बदल घडलेला आहे. मुळात काय झालंय की जेव्हा ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग हा जो विषय येतो, म्हणजे बाळाचं सुरुवात तर आईचा न्यूट्रिशन पासून येतं. आईचं न्यूट्रिशन कसं असायला पाहिजे आणि मग द्वितीय विषय असा असतो की आईचं न्यूट्रिशन जर आपण योग्य पद्धतीने दिलं तरी मग बाळाचं न्यूट्रिशनचं काय. या दोघांचं उत्तर आम्हाला विशेष करून जे ट्युटोरियल आहे, जे स्पोकन ट्युटोरियल, त्यामध्येच आम्हाला ते मिळालं. कारण की आमचं मार्चमध्ये इंटरव्ह्यू झालं, ट्रेनिंग झालं आणि ट्रेनिंग आम्हाला रुपल मॅमने घेतलं. त्यामध्ये ना मॅमने पहिलाच प्रश्न विचारला होता की बालकांचं जे वजन कमी आहे किंवा मातांचं जे ब्रेस्ट फिडिंग आहे त्याच्या कमतरतेमुळे जे बालकांचं वजन कमी राहत आहे, जे सॅममध्ये जातात म्हणजे सिव्हिअर ॲक्यूट मलन्यूट्रिशनमध्ये जातात, तर ते कशामुळे जातात. त्या प्रश्नाचं उत्तर होतं, माझं तरी उत्तर होतं की ते जे आहेत अनएज्युकेटेड आहेत. माता जी आहे किंवा जी आई आहे ती अनएज्युकेटेड आहे, त्याच्यामुळे या गोष्टी घडतात. पण एवढं सरळ उत्तर नसताना त्या प्रश्नाचं उत्तर होतं की आम्ही अनएज्युकेटेड आहोत. कारण की जो स्टाफ होता त्याचं आम्हाला प्रॉपर गायडन्स नव्हतं. जे ब्रेस्ट फिडिंग कसं करायला पाहिजे, निव्वळ बाळाला तोंडाला निप्पल लावायचं आणि दूध पाजवायचं एवढं सोपं नाही होतं हा विषय. याचा आहे ना, जेव्हा आम्हाला जे हळूहळू टप्प्याटप्प्याने मॅडमांनी जे ट्युटोरियल स्पोकन ट्युटोरियलच्या माध्यमातून आणि मॅडमांनी उदाहरणाच्या माध्यमातून व्यवस्थित त्यांनी जेव्हा शिकवण्याचा प्रयत्न केला आणि जेव्हा आम्हाला कळायला लागलं तेव्हा समजलं की हे खरंच आम्ही अनाडी होतो किंवा आम्हीच अशिक्षित होतो या विषयामध्ये. प्रॉपर टेक्निक नव्हती ती. कारण की जेव्हा ब्रेस्ट फिडिंग देतो आपण त्यावेळेला बाळाला पकडण्याची पोझिशन, बाळ कसं कम्फर्टेबल राहतं आणि बाळाला पकडल्यानंतर बाळाला जेव्हा आपण लॅचिंग म्हणतो, जेव्हा आईचं स्तनाचा जो स्तनाग्र असतो तो तोंडात गेल्यानंतर जो एक प्रकारचं सक्शन तयार होतं ते होणं तितकंच गरजेचं होतं. कारण की त्यावेळेला तुम्ही जेव्हा सक्शन पूर्णपणे तयार झालं, आई व्यवस्थित आहे, आई कम्फर्टेबल आहे आणि बाळाचं जर पोझिशन कम्फर्टेबल आहे तर बाळ त्याच्या क्षमतेपेक्षा जास्त किंवा क्षमते एवढं तो दूध पिऊ शकतो. बऱ्याच वेळेला काय होतं की आपण जेव्हा बाळाला दूध पाजवायचो ना तर बाळाला दूध पाजवताना फक्त आईला असं वाटायचं की त्याने तोंड लावलं निप्पलला आणि बाळ दूध ओढतंय, पण ओढताना बाळ पूर्णपणे दूध म्हणजे सकिंग करत नव्हतं, पूर्णपणे तो आत ओढत नव्हता आणि तो फक्त ओढण्याचं एक प्रकारचं त्याला फक्त तो आतोनात प्रयत्न करायचा आणि त्या प्रयत्नाअंती बाळ थकायचा आणि बाळ झोपायचं. आईला वाटायचं की बाळ हे दूध पिताना दूध पिऊन पोट भरलंय त्याचं आणि तो आता झोपलाय. मुळात तसं न होतं. मुळात हा सगळ्यात महत्वाचा विषय होता की बाळाला दूध हे पूर्णपणे भेटत नव्हतं. तो फक्त ओढून त्याच्या क्षमतेप्रमाणे सक्शन करायचा प्रयत्न करायचा आणि शेवटी थकून तो शांत बसायचा किंवा झोपून जायचा. याच कारणाने मग बाळाचं हळूहळू वजनामध्ये कमतरता व्हायला लागायची आणि बाळ हा कुपोषितग्रस्त व्हायचा. मग यामध्ये आम्हाला सगळ्यात म्हणजे उत्तम हा मार्गदर्शन रुपल मॅडमांनी केलं आणि त्या संबंधित आमचं स्वतःचं न्यूट्रिशन पहिले मॅडमांनी शोधून काढलं. म्हणजे तुम्ही न्यूट्रिशनमध्ये काय खाता, तुम्हाला प्रोटीनचं महत्त्व माहिती आहे का, नॉनव्हेजमध्ये काय खातात, कोणकोणत्या पदार्थांचा तुम्ही वापर करतात, प्रोटीनचं जे मात्रा असते ती पर केजी पर ग्रॅम असते, तर तुम्ही तुमच्या वजनाच्या एवढं प्रोटीन घेतात का त्या ग्रॅमनुसार, हे दिवसाचा तुमचा खर्च होतो का, या सगळ्यांचं कॅल्क्युलेशन आमच्याकडनं करून घेतलं आणि मग आईला किती लागतं याचं त्यांनी महत्त्व पटवून दिलं की आईला केवढं न्यूट्रिशन लागतं. त्या न्यूट्रिशनमध्ये आईला पण त्याच्यापेक्षा जास्त गरज असते. म्हणजे 70 ते 80 ग्रॅमच्या वर आईला प्रोटीनची पर डे प्रमाणे ते आवश्यकता असते. याचं सुद्धा आम्हाला मॅडमांनी समजून सांगितलं आणि याच बरोबर आम्हाला जे न्यूट्रिशनचं व्हॅल्यू होती ही सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं आम्हाला व्हिडिओद्वारे साध्या आणि सोप्या भाषेमध्ये स्टडी ट्युटोरियलमध्ये आम्हाला माहीत पडलं आणि त्यामध्ये स्पोकन ट्युटोरियलमध्ये आम्हाला वेगवेगळ्या व्हिडिओज दाखवल्या गेल्या. त्यामध्ये ॲनिमेशनद्वारे म्हणा किंवा प्रत्यक्ष आई दूध पाजवताना आईने कसं पकडले बाळाला, लॅचिंग कशा पद्धतीने झालेली आहे, बाळाचं पोझिशन कशी होती, आईची पोझिशन पण तेवढीच महत्त्वाची आहे जेवढी बाळाची, कारण की आईला तासनतास दूध पिणं पाजवणं हे महत्त्वाचं असतं. त्याचबरोबर आईला दूध पाजवताना तिने पण पाणी प्यायला पाहिजे जेणेकरून तिला डिहायड्रेशन नको आणि आईला दूध घ्यायला पण आईने पण तेवढंच न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट खायला पाहिजे, याचं सुद्धा त्याच्यामध्ये नॉलेज होतं. मग या सगळ्यांचं आम्हाला जे काही नॉलेज मिळालं ते इम्प्लिमेंटेशन आम्ही आमच्या दुर्गम भागामध्ये ज्या ठिकाणी आम्ही काम करतोय. मी आता एका वाल्हेरी PSC मध्ये रोजवा पुनर्वसन म्हणून एक पुनर्वसित गाव आहे, त्या गावामध्ये मी ॲज अ CHO म्हणून समुदाय आरोग्य अधिकारी म्हणून काम करतो. त्या ठिकाणी मग मी काम करत असताना मला तेव्हा समजलं, जेव्हा मी अंगणवाडीच्या सेशनमध्ये म्हणा किंवा आम्ही स्पेशल सेशन बोलवायला लागलो आणि आईंना सांगायला लागलो, मातांना, AMC माता म्हणजे PNC मातांना, की बाबा तुम्ही दूध कसं पाजवतात मला दाखवा. मग ते त्यांची पद्धत इतकी चुकीची होती की त्यावरनं कळायला लागलं की आपण त्या बाळाला किती उपाशी मारतोय. सॉरी फॉर दॅट असं बोलतोय मी, पण खरंच ते बाळाला आपण ते उपाशीच त्याला आपण ठेवतोय एक प्रकारे. त्याच्यात आईची चुकी नव्हती, कारण की आईला टेक्निक माहीत नव्हती. कोणतीच आई आपल्या बाळाला मुद्दामून करणार नाही की ती दूध पाजवणार नाही किंवा कमी पाजवेल, पण एकंदरीत त्यांना ते समाजामध्ये ती परंपरा होती, ती रूढी होती आणि त्या रूढी परंपराप्रमाणे बाळाला ते दूध पाजवायचे आणि बाळ ते अंडर न्यूट्रिशनमध्ये जायचं आणि आई सुद्धा खाण्यापिण्याकडे काहीच लक्ष द्यायचे नाही. त्याच्यामध्ये पण त्यांच्या काही यामध्ये आम्ही बाळाला मग आईला आम्ही व्यवस्थित त्या पोझिशनिंगच्या हिशोबाने शिकवण्याचा प्रयत्न केला आणि खरंच त्याचा फायदा व्हायला लागला. थोडंसं स्थानिक भाषेचा वापर म्हणजे आम्हाला थोडा अडचण यायची, पण मग आमच्या आशा अंगणवाडी ताई आणि आमच्या ANM ताई यांच्या थ्रू आम्ही ना त्यांच्या भाषेमध्ये रूपांतर करून किंवा त्यांना त्यांच्या भाषेमध्ये समजून सांगण्याचा प्रयत्न केला आणि त्याचं लक्षणीय त्या बाळामध्ये वाढ व्हायला सुरुवात झाली. आताच मी एका बाळाला 60 दिवसाच्या बाळाला मी दत्तक घेतलं होतं 8 दिवसाच्या एका मोहिमेअंतर्गत आणि 8 दिवसामध्ये त्या बाळाचं वजन आम्ही 820 ग्रॅम म्हणजे नियर अबाउट 1 kg वाढवलं. हे फक्त क्रॉस कॅडलची मेथड आणि जे स्पोकन ट्युटोरियल आहे याच माध्यमातून न्यूट्रिशनची व्हॅल्यू समजून आणि बाळाला व्यवस्थित ब्रेस्ट फिडिंग करून बाळाचं वजन वाढवण्याचा प्रयत्न केला आणि तो सक्सेसफुल झाला. याच पद्धतीने आम्ही आता जे इतर माता आहेत ANC पासून सुरुवात करणार आहे, जेणेकरून गर्भावस्थेमध्ये जरी माताला कळालं तर जन्म झाल्या 24 तासाच्या आत आई ब्रेस्ट फिडिंग देऊन बाळाचं वजन वाढवू शकेल. आणि या पद्धतीने आम्ही 100% अजूनही जास्त जागरूकता निर्माण करू.